This is how to do quick problems, and this is the first problem we have. Well, they want to know how many sides does this shape have. Well, we don't know how many, so we start out with the things we know. So this is a square, and if you don't know that it's 90, you don't know the conjecture for the triangle, for the rectangle, square, then you do, well, how many triangles does a square have? And it has two. Well, two are 180, and you basically do that and just get 90 for each angle. And the same thing goes for this shape too. You see how many triangles it has, how many sides it has, subtract 2, multiply by 180, then divide it by the original number of sides, and that gets you 108. Well, we know that a circle is 360, and B is basically a dot, which is 360. So it's 90 plus 180 plus this unknown angle to get 360. Well, it's 162. Well, if we know that, then we can identify that the parameter, the outside parameter equals 360 to all sides. Well, if it's 162 on the inside, how much is it on the outside? Well, after we know how much that is, you divide that number by 360, since that's how much the outside is, and you get 20. That means there's 20 sides in the shape. We'll go to another problem, like this problem right here. This is a rectangle, and it gives you that it says PQRS is a rectangle and OS equals 16. Well, OS, where is OS? Right here. This is 16. Well, we know that the O is basically the midpoint, therefore these are angle bisectors and midpoints. So if this is 16, then OQ is 16, and that's what we have. They wanted to know what angle of QRS is, and it's always the second letter, so they wanted to know the angle of R. Well, it's a rectangle, so it's basically a well, you can use the same method for the square. So PR, it divides it into two squares, two triangles, therefore each one is 180, therefore R is 90, and that's what we have. And they wanted to know what PR is. Well, PR is basically SQ, it's the two sides added up together, and that is 32. Another problem would be this one right here. It might look complicated, but it's actually easy. Well, we want to know what Z and X and Y are. Well, we know that each side and the angle of it is basically the midpoint of it, and that's true for all scenarios that are problems like this. Therefore, 16 times 2, because this side is 16 and this side is 16, even though it doesn't look like it, it is for this kind of problem. Like all these kinds of problem that looks like this, it is. So it's 32. And X is the same thing. It's 21. That's 21 too. But when we get to the Y, that's a different story. You use the formula 1 over 2 in parentheses base 1 plus base 2. Well, base 1 right here is 14, and we don't have a base 2, so that is 0. So that's 14 times 1.5. Well, that's 7, and that's how you got it.